Hi everyone, Madison here, and today I'm going to be doing a full-faced makeup routine. I start out with Smashbox's Photo Finish Primer and apply it all over my face. Immediately following that, I use Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. Now that the surface is prepped, let's start on our brows by brushing all of the hairs upward. I use Anastasia's Dip Brow Pomade in Blonde and use an angled brow brush. I start lining the bottom of the brow to create the shape of the arch I want. I don't worry about it looking perfect because we'll take care of that later. I gradually fill in the brow with upward strokes going in the direction of the hairs I just brushed. After filling in, I define the angle of the brow's arch. Fill it in just a little bit more and fix any mistakes with Garnier, Micellar Cleansing Water, and a Q-tip. To keep the hairs in place, I use Maybelline Brow Precise Fiber Volumizer in Blonde. To keep my lines clean, I use basic clear tape to cut out the angle I want. I'm pretty sure that this is Tarte's Amazonian Clay Concealer in their lightest shade, but the label has completely rubbed off and I can't find it on Sephora's website anymore. But you can use any long-lasting high pigment concealer you can find, and it should work just as well for cleaning up your brow line and creating a cut crease. So here I take my precision concealer brush to clean up the edges and define my brow shape. If you have issues blending with a brush or a sponge, you can use your fingers, as I do here in a second. Now moving on to the lids, I use my mini Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette in Electric Obsessions, and we are going to define our eye crease with this vibrant purpley pink shade. I start from the outer edge and work my way in all the way to the inner corner. Careful not to apply this to the main part of our lid. We want to keep that bare because that's going to be where we have a lot of our contrast and create the cut crease. Follow that with this orange shade and blend that about halfway in with the pink color I applied previously. blend that out with a fluffy brush to smooth out all those colors more. Now we'll go back to our concealer brush and start cutting the crease. I dab a little near the lash line and then open my eyes wide to mark out how far the cut crease will go. This will act as my guideline. I leave the outer corner bare and find a Rose Shimmer Loose Pigment eyeshadow. For this, I use Mica Beauty Shimmer powder in Earth. We're going to pack this on pretty thick to the area we just applied the concealer. Now once that is all applied and we have a nice metallic-y finish, I'm going to go to my Smashbox palette in Ablaze and pick this nice deep warm brown color and just start applying that to the outer corner. I lightly blend the brown in with the brighter shades and only slightly blend it with the metallic rose that we have as our cut crease right at the center of the eyelid. Alright, now to highlight my brow bone and inner corner, I use the shade Lucid in my Anastasia Prism palette. It's an iridescent white shimmery color with yellows and blues kind of intermixed. So we'll just apply that to the high point of our brow bone, and if you have hooded eyes like me, the brow bone area does kind of end up being this just small space where hardly any pigment can go. Alright, now that all of our eyeshadow is done, let's move on to eyeliner. I use this Sephora Felt Tip Waterproof Liner in the color Little Black Dress, and I decided to create a winged look. I start by kind of trying to get as close to my lash line as possible, because since I have very blonde lashes, a lot of the times when I apply eyeliner, there's always this little seam where you can still see like the lightness of the roots of my eyelashes. For those of you that don't have a lot of experience applying eyeliner, it is very important to relax your eye as much as possible. Now removing the tape to get that nice clean line. If any pigment or makeup ended up breaching that little bit of a tape barrier you had, you can take that micellar water and a Q-tip again and clean up your edges just to make it look a little neater. Now I'm going to take the pink and orange colors again and just kind of use that to smoke out on the lower lash line. kind of blending them together at the center of the lower eyelash line. Alright, now the creepy up-close shot of the lash curling. And go right into applying mascara. Same thing like with the concealer. I don't know the brand. I believe it's Maybelline, but the label's completely rubbed off of my mascara. I just know that it's a volumizing and waterproof. Now, you can stop at the mascara, but I decided to get ballsy and try to apply false lashes, a skill which I sorely suffer in. The glue I use is Duo, and this particular kind has the brush applicator tip, which I find a lot more easy to apply than directly from the tube. Let it dry for about 30 seconds before applying it to your eye. Now, I actually don't know what these lashes are. They very well may have come from Halloween last year, but I have this awful habit of losing all of my good lashes, so these were the only ones I could find when I decided last minute to apply them for this video. Alright, now that we have our eye look all squared away, let's go ahead and move on to applying the rest of our face. For foundation, I use Revlon Color Stay Full Cover Foundation in Ivory. It's supposed to have 24-hour wear. I've only started using it recently, so I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about it. And yes, against popular opinion, I do apply my foundation with my fingers. Now, moving on to the concealer portion of our face, I'm still using that Tarte concealer. And just applying it in a fan-like triangle fashion under the eye area. Taking that opportunity to make the sharp edge of our eye look extra sharp. And I go ahead and apply the concealer in that area around my mouth, just because different shadows can sometimes make that look a little unflattering, and I just like highlighting that a little bit more. Take the opportunity to go ahead and cover up any blemishes. Some of my blemishes will still be visible, but I'm not a miracle worker, so go ahead and blend that out with a beauty blender. Okay, and for my setting powder, I use this translucent powder by a brand called Flower that I think is by Drew Barrymore. You can find it at any drugstore location, and so far it works very well for me, aside from the mess-making aspect. Alright, now we are going to bake the crap out of our face. And I am actually so pale that you can't even see the translucent powder that I am really packing on my under eye area. Like, I could see it in the mirror, but every time I looked in the camera, nothing. Very faintly can you see it right here in my under eye. There we go. Yep. But I assure you, this is actually a really decent translucent powder, especially for a drugstore brand. And it does show up. I'm just exceedingly pale. And while we're letting that bake, I usually take the opportunity to go ahead and clean off some of my eyeshadow brushes. I just take a makeup remover wipe and just take the opportunity to get a lot of the pigment off of there. Alright, it's been a few minutes. We're going to dust that off now. Just lightly buff it out. And look at that, the cheapo lashes that I found are already coming off. Okay, reapplying that thing. Waiting patiently for the adhesive to dry. And take 2 on my left eyelash. And this one is always my problem eye. Alright, I think we're good. Moving on to bronzer, I just used this e.l.f. blush and bronzer combo palette. I get a very flat brush, which, if you're wondering, that is actually a paint brush I purchased at Hobby Lobby. Because some of the bristles are actually very high quality, and they are usually a fraction of the cost of what cosmetic brushes generally go for. So all in the hollows of my cheeks, my temples, hairline. And though I love the nose that I was graced, that I inherited from my paternal side, I still generally like to make it a little more slender with my contouring. Go ahead and buff that all out. And to kind of get a nice even blend on the nose, I flatten out a fluffy brush, and that kind of keeps me from over blending it on the high points of my nose. Using a rosy peach blush that just came in this combo. Gives me just a little bit of color. Oh yeah, and the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powder. I actually really like this particular highlight, especially from a brand like Wet n Wild that's kind of notorious for being a cheaper product. It works really well. It looks better in regular daylight than I think this lighting I have indoors. But if you want a more intense glow, this Mega Glow Halo, also by Wet n Wild, gives you a definite more intense highlight. And since this is a liquid, kind of thicker liquid cream formulation, I do use a beauty blender to kind of blend that in. I find that using my fingertips to blend this kind of still makes it streaky. Alright, and this is the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink liquid lipstick. Smells a little like cake, I would say, like that vanilla-y smell. But this was a very surprising product for me because I've used a lot of long wear liquid lipsticks, and this, although it doesn't really dry matte, it really doesn't budge. It stays on for a long time, and it's actually quite difficult to remove at the end of the day. The micellar water is one of the few things I can actually get to remove this product. Okay, so we are wrapping up on this look. Oh, and getting my setting spray. And here we have the finished product. Alright, thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm hoping to make more in the near future. If you enjoyed that, please hit that subscribe button down below or comment, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.